I want to thank you all for coming. I'm Joanne Manita, Chair of the Latah County Human Rights Task Force, and of the sponsors of today's breakfast. And thank you all for being willing to try something new, coming to the 1912 Center. So far, it's pretty comfortable and nice and a good breakfast. So yeah. It's great to have a full house. We just have, I think, one table of people who got stuck in Spokane and couldn't get here, but otherwise you all made it, so that's wonderful. It's really to our credit in our community that we have the city and the university working together to further the cause of human rights and equality and justice. And so we've invited both the city and the university to give welcomes today. I'll go alphabetical and start with Art Betke, our mayor, Moscow, Idaho.
Thanks, Joanne, for that. Good introduction. And you always put on a good show, and appreciate that all these years. So I'd like to start by thanking the organizers for putting this together. All these details that go into a meeting like this, a presentation, a commemoration, are myriad, and it means that this is not a trivial endeavor at all. And so also thanks to the people who worked on this project to get it up and going, and plus all of the people here who are staffing the thing and bringing us food and beverages and things like that. So when you have a chance, thank them too. Well done. But today we're here to commemorate and remember Martin Luther King Jr.'s work and what he did to champion human rights and civil rights. And we celebrate well today, but we also have to remember that there's a lot that remains to be done. We aren't finished with this project that he initiated yet. Discrimination and prejudice are there and are getting worse these past 6 or 7 years. Civil behavior is declining, and people are becoming more and more concerned with their own lives and fortunes than they are with the well-being of others. Prejudice and discrimination are clearly on the rise. Currently, it's political season, one of my least favorite times of the year. And Mark Twain told us that no man is safe when the legislature is in session. And I truly believe that. There's a lot of activity down there that is going to enact restrictive laws that affect libraries, interfere with doctor-patient relationships, and more or less interfere with patients' health, and has put forth bills to erase the boundary between church and state. There's a move to dismember programs that encourage diversity at institutions of higher learning, and generally is trying to impose legislation associated with morality that impinge greatly on our citizens' rights of all kinds. So although there's been a lot accomplished in the years during which Martin Luther King Jr. strived for equity and human rights, there's a lot that is undone as yet. This requires our continued vigilance in efforts to preserve our rights and freedoms that have been hard won over the years. But we can all take action, large or small, to continue Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. Chief among these is voting. Please go out, register to vote, get educated, and then do it. Encourage your friends and family to do the same. This is the most effective way to affect change in our state for the better. Overall, we need to remember and continue Martin Luther King Jr.'s lead and become civically involved through grassroots activism, voting, and running for office ourselves. We've got a city election coming up in a year after this. Think about it. Think about running and putting yourself out there. But let's think about the example of Martin Luther King Jr., who we celebrate today in all of his activities, and also endeavor to work to assist in continuing his work to assure the civil rights, human rights, and liberties for us all. Thanks very much and welcome.
Thanks. And now it's my pleasure to introduce from the University of Idaho, Dan Ebert, Vice President of Information and Technology. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much. It is always a really hard act to follow the mayor, but I'd like to echo his thanks that he expressed as well. I'm honored to be here at the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Human Rights Breakfast and extend a warm welcome from President Green, who's sorry that he couldn't be here today. The work done by the Latah County Human Rights Task Force and its partners over the years has made an enormous impact on our community, and I think we all know that. The University of Idaho supports opportunities for all faculty, staff, students, community members to collaborate, to feel welcome, to feel respected, and to create environments that all of us can learn and grow. But you know what? There's always opportunities to learn more and to do more. And today's program and featured speaker are examples of those opportunities. I had the pleasure of hearing Mario speak to the Moscow Chamber of Commerce monthly lunch this week, and I think his topic of moving forward together is particularly relevant right now in our society, and I really look forward to that discussion. The university in whole looks forward to continuing our partnership with all the organizations that support human rights and that help our community in understanding and accepting all people. So thank you for providing me the opportunity to say hello this morning. I hope you enjoy each other's company, enjoy the breakfast, and enjoy the conversation. Thank you very much.
That work for, can you hear me? Okay, I don't have to stand on my toes, that's good. In addition to having the city and the university represented, we also have Tom Lamar here from the county commissioner, and also Jake Geringer. Jake is the Governor Little's representative to North Idaho, and he drove down from Coeur d'Alene today to be with us, and that's really fantastic. I'd also like to recognize Yolanda Bisbee, who's the University Chief Diversity Officer and also the Executive Director of Tribal Relations. She's got a big job, and she drove up from Lapwai today. So we are so happy to have them here. And one more new person to our community is Haylin. Haylin is from our sister city in Nicaragua, and she's here to work with high school students and with our community. Could Haylin stand so we can welcome? Oh. So glad to have you. I want to start today by paying tribute to two wonderful human rights activists who have passed on this year. And one is Tom Trail, who was a member of our task force, an activist. He spent his life really in service of others and served a good term at the legislature and really modeled the way we want our representatives and senators to act. That is, to listen to the constituency, even those who don't vote for them, and to vote for the interests of our community. The other person is my husband, Paul Menino, who passed in February. Paul was also a member of the task force. He took part in every march and rally and breakfast and event that we put on, and not just because I made him, he did it. Love from his heart. And interestingly enough, both Tom and Paul were members of the Palouse Asian American Association. And that organization was practicing diversity and inclusion before those words even were popular. You'll be hearing more about them in February. So with that said, I would like to start our program. And the first order on the program is to the presentation of the Rosa Parks Human Rights Achievement Award. Now, we've been doing that every year since we started the breakfast, which was in 1994, believe it or not. And at first, we just gave one award to an adult, a member of the community. And then we added, a few years later, we added giving a youth award to a student, usually high school or university students, who show great promise in the field of human rights. And like Rosa Parks, they teach us that one person can make a big difference. And we should recognize those people because not only are they serving our community, but they're an example to the rest of us. So first I'd like to have the people who have received the award in the past to stand. And I see we have Ken Fonts here. Yes. Yes. Susan Hodgins and Leanne Erickson. And we thank you, all of you. Is anyone I missed? Nancy Cheney. There she is. All of you for your service in human rights. So I'm going to turn this over to Mary Jo Hamilton, who's in charge of this project for the task force. She's our secretary. Mary Jo.
Thank you. As Joanne said, every year we select Rosa Parks Human Rights Achievement winners in student and community categories. The criteria for the selection of a Rosa Parks Award include, but are not limited to, length of participation, active participation in human rights causes, a record of leadership and accomplishment, and a manifestation of special courage and commitment in opposing bigotry and celebrating diversity. This is a big, we're asking a lot of these people. So I'd like to have Mario Pyle come up to introduce the Rosa Parks awardee in the student category.
Thank you, Mary Jo. It's great to be here. To talk about this person in a short period of time is really hard because this person does so much. It's typically what we see about Rosa Parks is her sitting on the bus, and that's what we honor. But we don't realize that sacrifice made her public enemy number one, and people didn't want to hire her. People didn't want to befriend her because she got all this attention. And there was a great sacrifice, more than just going to jail, more than just sitting in a seat that she wasn't supposed to sit in. And the person that I'm talking about today spends so many hours behind the scenes for our students at the campus, for this community in the task force. This person does so much that is unseen and sacrifices so much. And you would never know it because she would never ask you to know it. She wouldn't want you to point to her. She wouldn't want any accolades or any pats on the back. But I appreciate this person is one of the closest people to my heart, and I'm so dear, and I love her so much. And I want to say thank you for everything you do, Bex.
Anybody out there have a camera that we're going to be able to get a picture?
That's so sweet. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, picture. Sorry. Am I allowed to say something? Yeah. That's incredibly sweet. I don't get these, so I don't know what to say. So I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for a table full of proud, bold, loving, giving, striving, strong individuals that are in the back over there. All of you students, you're the reason that I'm still here in Moscow. You're the reason that I work hard. And all I want to do is see you succeed and be happy and have fun and love each other. And your smiles every time I walk into that room is what gets me up to show up to campus. My boss is right here, so I'm going to leave it at that. But thank you. Keep doing well. I love all of you. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Bex, for all your work with the commission, that task force. You're very appreciated. Okay, I'd like to call Kenton Bird to come up and introduce the Rosa Parks awardee in the community category.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone, and a special appreciation to the chefs for the breakfast, the task force members who organized this, and all of you attending in person and those watching via Zoom this morning. The recipient of the Rosa Parks Community Award for 2024 is not present this morning, so this will be an announcement rather than a presentation. However, in keeping with tradition, I will delay announcing the name until after I've given a short summary of the honorees' contributions to our community. It's a bit like the old TV show, This Is Your Life, where you hear all about them and then you get the name as the end to the suspense. This person spent 15 years as a science teacher at Moscow Junior High School. And although they retired from full-time employment in 2008, they did not succeed in retiring in the traditional sense. They only shifted their focus and expanded their community service. Since arriving on the Palouse in the mid-1970s, this person has been involved with Moscow Community Theater, Latah County Parks Board, Friends of Phillips Farm, Citizens Climate Lobby, and the League of Women Voters. They were the first chair of the Moscow Arts Commission. Our honoree also took a leadership role in formation of the Palouse Discovery Science Center. But after the 2016 election, our honoree saw a need to increase public information and facilitate political advocacy on a grassroots level. Since then, so almost 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago rather, they have sent out an email newsletter at least once a week to friends and family discussing federal, state, and local issues. So in that time, there have been more than 300 weekly action alerts, and the mailing list has grown to more than 200. This person is a resource, a role model, and a leader in the tradition of those whose names are included in the program today. Their commitment to the community is reflected in a nomination letter that was signed by 20 Latah County residents, many of whom are present in this room this morning. While our honoree will receive the award at another occasion, we know that this person will be able to watch the recording of today's program. And so it's my honor to announce Kathy Dawes as the winner. So when you next see Kathy around Moscow at one of the many groups and activities and functions that she's involved in, please extend her thanks, and we'll be sure that when she returns to Moscow that she receives the plaque befitting her presence as the Rosa Parks Community Winner for 2024.
Congratulations to Kathy Dawes for a long history of activism in the human rights arena. I'm sorry she's not here to receive the award in person, but if Kathy were here today, she would be talking with people, as she does everywhere she goes, about signing a petition to have the open primary initiative on the ballot this fall. This would allow Idaho citizens of all political affiliations or no affiliation at all to vote in primaries that select the candidates that will appear on the ballot for the next election. The freedom of access to the polls and the ballot box is a human right. If you want to learn more about this issue or would like to sign the petition, there will be a table at the top of the stairs after we're done with our program today. And if you're interested, there will be people up there you can talk to and petitions to sign. Thank you very much.
Whoops. Thank you, Mary Jo, and congratulations to the winners. I should point out in your program, there's a list of the past winners, starting in 2020. Oh, I'm sorry, starting in 1994, as I said. We also have a plaque in Moscow High School with the names of all of the winners from Moscow High School students at the Youth Award. Now we're going to pause just for a minute so the musicians can get ready, and some of our helpers will circulate and pick up some dishes if you want. Just a few minutes. You want to do that? If you're ready to have your dishes taken. And while they're doing that, let me put out a big, big thank you to Tim Gressbach, who's generously donated the cost of the breakfast this morning, which is why you had such an amazing breakfast. So he couldn't be here today, but I know he would be so glad to see that you all enjoyed it. So I'm going to invite KT to come up and get herself organized. Two musicians who are going to perform today. The first is KT Turner. KT is a woman of many accomplishments. She's a human rights activist who's worked with the BAC that you'll be hearing about later and the Office of Multicultural Affairs. She's an actress, a singer, and a director, and she's also working on a degree in history, right? Wow. So it's my great honor to introduce KT Turner.
Hey, everybody. It's wonderful to be back this year. Last year, I brought a guitar. This year, I'll play the guitar myself. Like you said, I'm KT Turner. I am a second-year PhD doctoral fellow in the history department. Shout out to my professor, Dale. I'm so excited to be here with you all again. I'm doing two selections with a nice trumpet break in the middle, but this first one you all know. So if you would like to sing along, you are more than welcome to. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Twas grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we know less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. We know less days to sing
Next, it is my honor to introduce Jalen Terry. He's a trumpeter and a composer of Auburn, Washington, currently in the pursuit of a bachelor's degree of performance at the University of Idaho. Jalen has performed in and composed multiple pieces for the University Idaho Jazz Band 1 from 2019 to 2023, performed alongside Steve Tresler, Pat and Amy Shook, and Marshall Gillix at the Little Hampton Jazz Festivals, and is the lone trumpeter for the Idaho Shakespeare Festival production of Ain't Misbehavin'. Please welcome Jalen Terry.
Hi, thank you. I'm Jalen Terry. I'll be playing a song for you called Footprints by Wayne Shorter. There's no particular story behind the song, but I like to think of this in conjunction with civil rights as what do we do in the footprints of the people who came before us, and how do we carry their message on to create a better world for everyone. So in this case, this is Footprints by Wayne Shorter.
I don't even want to play anymore. No, it's wonderful. Thank you, Jalen. I was feeling it. I don't think anybody was looking at me, but I was feeling it. So this next song is it's gonna be another familiar one. It's one that's near and dear to my heart. So Please enjoy. A change is gonna come. I was born by the river in a little tent, and just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I am afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's out there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. And then I go to my mother and I say, Mother, could you help me please? She said, I'd like to, I really would, but I'm not able. And I looked around and I was right back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able, I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will.
Well, thank you both for that amazing entertainment. Oh my goodness, give me chills. I wanted to invite all the student helpers and AmeriCorps helpers to come out so they could listen to Mario's talk. So now it's my great honor to introduce our speaker for today. You know, usually, in fact, almost always, we bring in speakers from outside our community. I mean, we've had the founder of Black Lives Matter, and we've had riders who took part in the Freedom Ride, and so on. And we realize we're overlooking gems that we have right here to listen to. And not only that, we need to know more about what's going on in our own community, both in the business sector and the community and the university. So we have chosen Mario Pyle, who is the director of the Black African American Culture Center. That's been in existence only 2 years, maybe not fully 2 years. In that time, he's already had an impact with students, with recruitment and reaching out into the community. It's pretty amazing. So many people know him, and it's a great chance we have now to listen to Mario Pyle.
Thank you.
Go for it.
Good morning. Can we give our musical talent another round of applause, please? I feel like music, if you're like me, has a unique place in your heart, and it takes you, like the smell of food, it takes you to a place, a good time, a time where you cherish something. And um, Jalen, you take me back to sitting in the car with my father. KT, you take me back to the good old days of the Black Baptist Church, New Testament Baptist Church. And just hearing people saying amen and singing along and getting into the music. And in the honor of the beloved Dr. King, he was first and foremost a Black Baptist preacher. So if you hear something that you agree with, you're by all means, please say amen. Amen. Preach it, brother. Or anything of that nature. You'll make me feel right at home and comfortable being up here. So again, thank you so much. Thank you. I want to say thank you, first and foremost, for all of you making it out today. The weather is one that is not formal, one that we would want to embrace. So thank you so much. For me, it's really easy to stay home if I see snow. It looks like a day I should be inside. So I appreciate everyone making the trek here. Thank you so much, Joanne. Where you at, Joanne? There you are. Thank you so much for inviting me, and not even that, just the friendship that we've been able to build. I appreciate that very much. It's not always easy moving to a new place and finding where you fit in. I'm still working on that, trying to find where I fit in, but I thank you for allowing me opportunity to share with you. Thank you to all the other task force members who have allowed me to be here to speak with you. As Joanne said, there's been many people who have come and spoke. And this whole week in honoring of Dr. King, you could listen to anybody speak. There's so many great, amazing speakers who've touched on so many different dynamics of Dr. King. And I'm just a regular guy who cares a little bit about people. And so I appreciate that you will be willing to even listen to me, because I am not necessarily anybody who deserves to have people listen to them, not any more than you. Thank you to my son. Unfortunately, he could not make it today. He is sick, so he is at home resting. Even though he felt better, I told him, don't push yourself, just take it easy, rest. So thank you to him for allowing me to be here with you all today. I want to also thank some very important people to my life who are here. They say for me, but they're really here to make their lives uniquely better. To Josie, Peter, Maria, Dr. Samuels, Alex, Mason, Maya, thank you all so much. I don't get to do what I do without you all. And actually, my first person that I brought to UOI campus, Josie, she's gonna one day rock this world and be an amazing attorney. So keep your eye out for Josie. She's gonna do some amazing things. And then lastly, I do wanna thank those on Zoom. I don't know everybody who is watching on Zoom, but I do know my sister and my mother are watching, and I appreciate that they would be willing to take time out of their busy day, because it's Saturday. I mean, most people would rather just eat brunch and like watch football all day, you know? So I appreciate that. And thank you to the mayor for being here. Thank you, Dan. To my boss, Dr. Bisbee, Thank you so much for being here. I wasn't expecting you to be here, so I appreciate you making that trek all the way from Lapway to here. I wrestled mightily with what to say today, because speaking on behalf of Dr. King or in honor of Dr. King is no small task. There is no one else who is a regular citizen that has a day off. Think about that. He wasn't a president. He wasn't a senator. Wasn't a general in a great war. He was a man in the South who each step of the way could have said no. Just like us in this room, he was a regular citizen, a human being with no special titles or no accolades necessarily to his name as he began what he started to do. And he sacrificed a lot to do what he did. And it's really difficult because we don't have a schedule or a plan on how to celebrate Dr. King. There is no blueprint. There's a blueprint to Christmas. There's a blueprint to Easter. There's even a blueprint to St. Patrick's Day. Drink green beer. Every other holiday, there is a blueprint to how to celebrate. And what is even more difficult is, and if Dr. King was alive today and he wasn't robbed from us, there was thousands of other people who gave their life, who gave their everything to make this world a better place for Black people in America. It wasn't just Dr. King. His wife, who we sometimes forget, is the one that stayed home many nights alone, worried about her husband being murdered, being assassinated, being brutally killed. His children. We forget about that there was people in his life who loved him on not the Dr. King level, on the Martin level. Or as Coretta would say, my Martin. We forget that he was human. Nowadays, we have stripped him to a couple fluffy quotes, to he loved everybody, to a Dr. King that I don't recognize. And it hurts my heart when I see politicians tell me that this is not a racist country. It hurts my heart when I see pictures of certain politicians compared to him who have done nothing but rip this country apart. And I say we because we allow people to reduce this man to a mythical, romanticized, so-called beloved person. When you're assassinated, you're not beloved. When you're on FBI's #1 hit list, you're not beloved. When your phone calls, your hotel room, when everything is tapped, you're not beloved. Dr. King was not loved in the way that we have perceived and portrayed him. I wrestle because to tell the truth is to put your life on the line these days now. And so many speakers who speak on behalf of King water down their message in hopes of what happened to him doesn't happen to them. I wrestled this morning because we live in a state that has 21 hate groups. We live in a state that wants to erase my people's history because it doesn't want to offend anybody. I live in a state that wants me to live but hide a state that sees me as less than. How do I tell the truth and not sacrifice the things that I love? You don't. You have to sacrifice. We don't make change being nice. Nothing that has ever changed in America has come by way of good feelings and intentions. I've been told, just like my forefathers and mothers, Mario, just wait. When this generation dies off, things will get better. I've been hearing that in history, every generation, that once this generation dies off, all will be better. Yet it's not better. So why am I waiting for something that's not going to happen if I just rely on the good intentions of people? I've got to fight. We've got to fight. We've been like a baby lullabied into a complacency because I got my house, I got my job, I got my dog and my cat, I'm good. It's time, we gotta wake up. We have to wake up. We cannot honor King with a mere quote. We've got to change that. We've got to do better. We've got to rewrite the blueprint because those who want to control the narrative are starting to. We've got to take that narrative back. Amen. We have to take the narrative back. And as our mayor said, it starts with voting. We need all who care about this country to vote. If you have the ability, you need to vote. And I'm going to take a step further. If you even have an inclination to run, run. Run. Because the people who are in charge right now aren't thinking about us. So if you think about us, run. Run. And if you need help and support, I got your back. We've got to do this. We can no longer allow others to make decisions for us. I don't want to, actually, no, I do want to. So many times as a black man, I've been told that I need to apologize when I say something too aggressive, when I say something that may seem divisive, yet we live at the hands of divisive people. We live at the hands of people who are trying to pull us apart. We are at the hands of people who want to go back to a time period where I would have to not be able to sit at the front of the bus. I keep saying that I want to make this place a better place for my son. That means I got to give something. If you want to make this place better for the next generation, we've got to give something. We talk about rights, but we don't talk about responsibility. We have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to one another. We can no longer be complacent. I and mine is good, can't work anymore. Cannot work anymore. Why? Because it doesn't work. We've got to honor and celebrate not just Dr. King, but the thousands, not in just the civil rights era, in the abolition time period, before Frederick Douglass, before Harriet Tubman. There were slaves who fought on plantations for their freedom, who escaped to Mexico, who escaped to Canada. We must honor those folks. Blood, sweat, and tears. And If we want to talk about white history, John Brown, we got to honor those who fought. We want to talk about history in the context of, oh, slavery so long ago, but yet you want to honor Paul Revere? Exactly. The myth of Paul Revere holds prominence, but slavery was so long ago. So in honor of reading quotes, I'd like to read a quote from Dr. King. It's a little lengthy, but I think it's worth reading. It comes from Where Do We Go From Here, which was in 1967, a year before he was assassinated by us. It says, whites, it must frankly be said, are not putting in a similar mass effort to re-educate themselves out of their racial ignorance. It is an aspect of their sense of superiority that the white people of America believe so little to learn. The reality of substantial investment to assist Negroes in the 20th century, adjusting to Negro neighbors and genuine school integration, is still a nightmare for all too many white Americans. These are the deepest causes for contemporary abrasions between the races. Loose and easy language about equality, resonant resolutions, and the brotherhood fall pleasantly on the ears. But for the Negro, there is a credibility gap. He cannot overlook. He remembers that with each modest advance, the white population promptly raises the argument that the Negro has come far enough. Each step accents an ever-present tendency to backlash. That was in 1967. Yet how prevalent those words speak to 2024. That I've never seen anybody post that quote. I've never seen anybody hang on to that quote. We want to talk about the I have a dream. And many of my white brothers and sisters have turned I have a dream into I have a nightmare. We've got to do something different. Yes, there are attempts to try to change people's minds. There's attempts to change legislation so that we're more amicable to one another, at least legally. And I wrestle because between morally trying to reach the hearts of those who hate me because of the color of my skin, and also legally getting them so that they can't just outright beat me up in the middle of the street and everybody just watch. I wrestle because in between that, we still have hate that exists in this country. With all the strides in technology and all the strides in medical technology and all the strides we've had in work performance and work environment, we still have hate that exists so prevalent in our country and our state. We have hate that exists right here in this country, in this city. I can't tell you how many Confederate flags I see. We need to make them feel uncomfortable. I'm tired of being told, well, Mario, you're the one causing the separation. The separation exists because of the behaviors of certain folks. I need your help to make them more uncomfortable. We got too complacent with hate. And it's because it's in our families. And we're so uncomfortable to have the talks at the dinner table. So I challenge you, have those conversations at the dinner table. Have them at the dinner table, have them when you're on the couch, watching the game. So many people I know will cheer for a black quarterback, but as soon as that black quarterback stands up against police brutality, the inequalities, now all of a sudden, yes. And we got to be done with the lip service of putting end racism at the end of the end zone. We got to lip service, we got to get, it's 2024, we got to be done with that. I got to see it in your actions. I need to hear it in your thoughts. How do I know that I don't see it? Dr. Bonnie Bailey completed suicide. She was the VP of Student Affairs. Her boss, a white man, would not let up. Dr. Claudia, the president for 6 months only at Harvard. What am I saying? What am I saying? I'm saying if this country ever wants to live up to its actual creed, black women have to take priority as a people who have to be protected, lifted up, and encouraged and empowered. Black women have been raped, abused since they've been on this soil, and we have yet to stand up for them. We have yet to say no more. We have yet to say, I won't stand for it. I will stop using your supplies or doing whatever it takes to let this country know black women are the very essence of our life. And until we stand up for black women, the way we stand up for stop killing dolphins, stop cutting down trees. Oh yeah, clap, clap. My title is Moving Forward Together. We've been moving. People been moving. There's been lots of activity. People are doing things. Go on TikTok. Everybody's doing something. Go on social media, any social media. So people are doing something. And some people are moving forward. But I can tell you what we're not doing. We're not doing it together. How do I know we're not doing it together? Because we don't know each other. And thank you, Dan, for mentioning the chamber. At the chamber luncheon, I co-presented with the general manager at the Moscow Co-op, Melinda. And the only reason we were able to do that is because we got to know one another. And what I shared there, I'll share here. If you open your phone and the last 10 people that you've ever talked to, most, and they're not one person of color, you need to reassess what you're doing. If you're a man and there's not a woman in that, you need to reassess what you're doing. And I'm gonna throw this out there. For any man who's watching or spying on us, if you can't allow a woman to lead, I need you to go away. Just go away. And if you can't be in the same room with an LGBTQ or a trans person, go away. Just go away. If you want to move together, it can't be on the pace of white fear. I've seen it and I've heard it since I was a little kid. Every time black people are successful, white violence ensues. Anytime people of color start to move forward, white men get a little itchy and want to tear it down. And I know I got a lot of white brothers who don't feel that way, and I need y'all to step up and say something. Step up and say something. Be vocal. We can't move together. We can't move forward together because we're doing it at a pace that is inconsistent with how Black people feel in America. It's so ironic to see in 2024 people who want to erase history and then tell Black people, go back to where you came from. You brought me here. And I gotta leave? How about we talk to the Native Americans and see who they let stay? How about that be the policy? Whoever they say can stay, stays. We can't move together because we don't know each other. Because we're still afraid of each other. Because I'm still seen as a threat because I'm a tall Black man. I'm seen as inferior because how could a Black man speak the way he speaks and walk as confidently as he does? What jobs am I not allowed to do because I'm Black? Think about these things. Think about how you interact. Think about this state, because sometimes what I see, especially in Idaho, is, oh, that happens in another state. That doesn't affect us here. That doesn't happen here, Mario. Don't bring issues that don't exist here. Oh, don't? Because in 2018, a Black DJ was beat up by 4 Idaho white men. 2018. Don't tell me it doesn't exist here. As the director, and I might get in trouble, so I apologize, Dr. Bisbee. I'm supposed to bring students here when there is a clear narrative that this place has a racial overtone where it doesn't like Black people. How am I supposed to bring Black students here? Especially if white silence dominates the picture. You can't be silent. You can't tell me it doesn't exist, because I have students in this room who've experienced it, who are experiencing it. I have a student who was called the N-word the first 3 months she was here. Don't tell me it doesn't exist. Stop gaslighting folks. And owning it doesn't mean you lose out on something. Because that's what I also hear, Mario. Just pump the brakes, because people are worried about change. They don't want to lose what they have. But if what you have is at the cost of my humanity, what do you have? If what you have is at the cost of someone's humanity, what do you have? I'm going to say that one more time. If what you have is at the cost of someone else's humanity, what do you really have? My message is moving forward together. How do we do that? First, and like I said, we only move forward at the pace of people of color. We need to ask Black and brown folks, what are you thinking? What do you see? Because too many times I've had friends tell me, Well, it looks good to me. I mean, Mario, you got Michael Jordan, you got Magic Johnson. If you can start naming off all the famous black people on one hand, we haven't accomplished what we need to. When the prison is overrepresented by people who look like me, yet CEOs are underrepresented who look like me, we have not accomplished. And as Dr. King said in his quote, what did he say? The Negro has come far enough. And you know what? Ironically, I've heard that statement myself. What more could you want, Mario? At least you're not hanging from a tree. Right. Oh, I'm so glad the bar is so low that me being lynched means that I'm now seen as equal with a white person. When statements like that, and statements that I heard, and I'm so thankful I got to meet with some students from Moscow High Thursday, and one young lady shared with me, and this is why we can't wait till the next generation, because this generation coming up is holding on to certain beliefs. One young man, two other young white men around him, proceeds to say, hey, who at this school would you want as a slave? I would want this student because he's big and strong and can get a lot of work done. This is in Moscow High right now. Right now. Don't tell me this is in the past. Don't tell us we can wait. Don't tell us it's gonna die. Racism just doesn't die. It has to be assassinated. As I close, I think about my son and the potential backlash he could potentially face as a biracial child in a predominantly white area, white school. The backlash my students might face because we don't know who's watching. And hate is very violent. And hate will not rest. So we've got to wake up. We've got to wake up. We've been lullabied to sleep, and it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to get to know one another. Yes, there are some serious systemic issues that need to be changed and have to be changed. Taking away women's ability to make decisions over their own body? How is that even still a discussion? That I'm a threat because I walk by with my hood on? How is this still a discussion? We can't move forward together. We're moving. Some people are going forward, but we're not doing it together. And you know what scares me the most is an America where we're not together on any level. On any level, I don't want to see a world where we're not together on any level, because that is a dangerous, scary place, a dark, scary place. We must come together. We've got to stop this individualism. We're a community. We've got to come together. We've got to have these conversations more often. We've got to be able to create safe spaces for people to ask difficult questions. We can't just be offended. We can't just be offended. We can't just sit in our homes and think everything is okay. We've got to get to know one another. We've got to say hello to one another. We've got to see each other. We've got to check in on each other on a soul level. We've got to be a people who cares about each other's souls. We don't move the needle. We don't change the nonsense that has been changed that's sending us backwards. We can't get forward if we don't acknowledge all of that has happened. Don't tell me it'll be all right. Don't tell me it'll be all right. Because while we keep saying it'll work itself out, it keeps getting worse. It keeps getting worse. And just like COVID, even though certain people already know this, it showed the disparity that was in this country. And I'll give a clear example of that. My brother was a principal at an elementary school, predominantly Black school, and COVID hit. And the solution was, we'll give you some router extenders. You assume everybody in his school has a laptop. You assume everybody has internet or working internet. So whilst kids who have a computer, their own, and everybody in their house has their own laptop, his kids who might have one, multiple siblings are sharing. Think about the education setback that takes place when kids who are in elementary aren't being educated because they have no resources to even get the information. That's 2020. That's recent. I'm not talking about the 70s that occasionally, or the 60s that we occasionally put in black and white, even though there was color back then, to show how far ago it was. I'm talking about stuff that happened within the last couple of years. There are disparities, and if you're deceived by the 1% of the Black population who seem successful, even if they've had to sell their soul or they've had to compromise in ways that you can't even imagine, yet while the rest of the Black and African American community continue to struggle just to be seen as human, you are not doing America just service. Again, thinking just because that problem may not exist here in Latah County, in Idaho, we're all Americans, and I've got the opportunity to serve as a military member for 20 years. When I was overseas, I didn't just protect one state. I didn't protect California, where I'm from. I protected the United States of America. So if you sit in a state and you say that problem doesn't belong to me, I'm offended as a military veteran.
Diversity and inclusion are not bad words. And the programs we have at the university for Black students, Hispanic students, Native Americans, DLBT and the Women's Center, they're all part of education, they're part of our community, and we need to keep them. I have some announcements to make before I do our final thank yous. The first one is that the task force is kind of reorganizing our membership structure. We're doing that because we want more people like you to be more involved. And we're doing that because we need more help to put on events. If you look at the brochures on your table, you see that the task force has some event every month of the year. We're either putting them on or we're helping somebody else to do it, and we need more people. So we are expanding our affiliate membership. If you want to help us, but not, you don't want to have to go to a meeting every month, you can be an affiliate member. You can choose what activities you would like to help with. So there are yellow inserts in the brochures. If you're interested in becoming an affiliate member, you can fill that out or go to our website, humanrightslink.org, and talk to us about how you could be more involved. So that's one important thing. The second is that next month we are giving awards for our art and essay contest. The subject is freedom of expression. And I want to tell you, your students don't have to be in a class that's taking part. If you have a child or grandchild or students children in your church or scout group, they can have entries into the contest as well as anybody else. It's on an individual basis. So I lost what happened to our human rights day program. Anyway, so our theme this year is libraries and freedom of expression, and the deadline is next Thursday. And the presentation will be by the mayor on February 10th. Oh, there it is. Each year, the task force picks a theme, and we have a display and activities at the farmers market. This last year, it was celebrating our libraries, and we invite people shopping at the market to take part, write down comments, or this year we did thank you notes to the librarians. So all those things are part and parcel of what we do, besides having a wonderful breakfast every year. I want to do some thank you now. First of all, I want to thank Tim Dressbach again for paying for our wonderful breakfast. I understand there was a problem with our donation button on our website, so it's now fixed, and you can give a contribution today if you like, or you can go to the website, humanrightslink.org. So I'd like all our students, get all of the students and AmeriCorps people to come up so we can thank them. One of the important things our task force does is work multi-generational. As you were hearing Mario say, we can't always count on the next generation unless we talk to them and they talk to us, and we have to listen as well as talk. So part of what we do is ask Moscow High School students to volunteer for this breakfast, and we couldn't put it on without them. And in addition to that, we have AmeriCorps members, and we have volunteers for the WSU Community Engagement Office. So thank you all. I hope you enjoyed being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
There is hope for the future when we have young people like this. And I'd like the members of the task force to come up, because you can see who some of them are. And they work very hard to make this all possible. How did you like having it here at the 1912? Was that a good idea? Yeah, I think so. So I really want to thank Jenny, wherever she is, for helping us so much.
I have never sang this song slow, but last year for some reason it was sang slow. So Mario said I reminded him of church, so we're about to go to church. So Beck said she would clap with me. Clap, get into it, because this is a celebration. It's not some solemn, oh, we're going to do it someday. No, we're going to do it, and we're doing it right now. So. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome.